I go by the name of Q. If you're unfamiliar, if you are familiar, shout out to you and welcome back. I started college in 2008. As the world was falling apart, that was the Great Recession era. That's when I started. Let me take you back really quick. I graduated high school in 2007. I was 18 years old and I knew for a fact I didn't want to go to college as all my friends was rushing off to school, some out of state, some in state, but everybody was focused and fixated on college. That just wasn't my plan. I had no motives, no intentions, no thoughts really about college, but that's all I heard growing up. Everybody would say, you have to go to college. College is a must. Even my dad, as young as I can remember back to second grade, he was saying, son, you're going to college. When you go to college, you get your degree, get a good job, and you can live a greater financial life if you go to college. And I'm just still like, whatever that means, okay? So I went. The main reason was to make my father proud, point blank period. The main reason I went to college was to make my father proud because I love my father so much. And that's all you really want to do, I think, as a kid, is just to make your parents proud. My dad being a single dad, I wanted to make him proud. I wanted to give him something that he can hang his hat on, right? But at the end of the day, I went to 5 different colleges. I also dropped out of 5 different colleges before I got any type of degree because that's how bad I didn't want to go. Other than to make my father proud, I went so I can play basketball. So a lot of y'all don't know, I played organized sports, organized basketball, 3rd grade through college. And I figured I love to play basketball. Why not go to school, make my father proud, and also try to get a scholarship because I was decent. I was really nice on the court, right? I was trying to get a scholarship and still fulfill my love of basketball, because if I can get a scholarship, get a free education, and do what I love, that's a win-win-win-win-win-win. But that didn't work out, right? I grew taller as I'm 6'1", but I didn't grow wider. I was only 165 pounds max, and that always fluctuated because my metabolism is so high. So it always fluctuated between 149 and 165, up and down. I could just never hold weight, never hold muscle. I'm down there getting banged around, and I just had to put that hoop dream on the shelf, right? It is what it is. At a point, you have to become realistic. That being said, I took a few years off to work, some rinky-dink jobs. I worked at CVS, I worked at the mall, I worked at the car wash. I did just a bunch of odd-end jobs just to make some money, right? I'm an adult at this point, 18 through whatever. At 18, you're legally an adult, so I figured I'd make some money, help my dad out, help myself out. So I'm just not being a bump on the log at his house, right? I'm not paying no rent, so I'm lucky right there. My dad wasn't charging me any rent. And after a while, I said, you know what? Maybe I should try this college thing, because I had got laid off from one of my jobs, and I had 9 months where I was just unemployed. I'm sitting around the house like, all these commercials popping up. All of my close friends are going to these trade schools and they're recommending things to me. They say, you should try out Lincoln Tech. So that's what I did. In 2008, I enrolled in Lincoln Tech. My dad co-signed on those student loans for me, and I did the 2-year program. So I did the associate's program in electronic systems technician, and that's what I got my degree in. So that degree was in applied science. I mentioned that before. I haven't applied any science ever, I don't think. I don't even remember applying any science when I was in school, but that degree served me none. I couldn't even tell you where it was at this moment in time because I did retrieve it back in 2020 once I paid off my student loans. And this is just my honest to God truth right here. College just wasn't for me, and I knew there was a better way other than going to school for X amount of years and taking out X amount of debt and putting yourself in this financial hole that is student loans. So the original loan amount that I took out was $16,000, right? So for each year, the associate's program is a 2-year program, but you get your degree in 16 months. So 8,000, 8,000, 16,000, that's what I took out. By the time I started paying them back, I had went into default. My loans was piling up, right? That interest was accruing like crazy. And when I started paying them back, I was in just under $29,000 worth of student loan debt. And that was the bulk of my debt. That's what held me down for so long. That's what held me back. That's what frustrated me, had me stressed out, sleepless nights, all of that. The education that I paid for, I don't even use. I couldn't even find a job in the field, which is why education on education is important. Nobody told me what fields pay the best. Nobody told me what things I was interested in or gave me ideas. They just said go to school. So I'm just playing follow the leader at this point, or taking anybody's advice, as my discernment isn't as great as it is right now. I'm taking everybody's advice, right? This kid like mine, I consider a 22-year-old a child, personally. I consider a 25-year-old a child. I consider a lot of ages under 30 as being a kid. And it's just weird, man. So he went down there to the office with me, signed off on them loans. He would have been accountable for them had I defaulted, but of course, I'm Mr. Accountability. I'm not gonna put my dad on the hook, even though he co-signed for me and I did what I had to do. I paid those loans off proudly, happily. It was a big fee for me and I learned a lot along the way. My story is unique to me, but I know there's thousands, maybe even millions, who has a very similar story than I do. Went to school based on what they were told, based on the influence, based on societal pressures, based on peer pressure, parental pressure, just pressure. pressure as a whole, nudged in that direction and did things that they weren't completely aware of, right? That was me. So I think about the student loan forgiveness and how it's relieving a lot of people, and I'm cheering for them. As I mentioned, I'm excited for whoever is excited about this relief. And if those who aren't excited about the relief, as they'll have to pay that back with their tax dollars, I understand their gripes as well. But at the end of the day, I stand right there firm in the middle with both sides, because I don't have student loans, but I will be contributing to the future. I know there's a bunch of people who kind of went to school and took out loans and squandered their education or dropped out or whatever, but that's not my concern. That's really not my concern. All I'm focused on is me, my kids, and whatever I can do to help society, if that makes any sense. Hopefully I'm making sense. Education is something that is extremely expensive, especially here in America, and everybody is paying the price for that, especially students who took out those loans under the age of 30. I'm gonna just put it like that. They don't have a higher level of discernment, and pressure is real. I don't care how old you are, depending on your environment, you will succumb to some type of pressure in your life. That's just how we are as human beings. Environment is stronger than anything. Whatever you're around, you'll become. Whatever you see and hear, you'll ingest and implement. I'm gonna say that again. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, you'll ingest it and you'll implement it. That's just how we are as human beings. You take it in no different than taking in a cheeseburger or taking in a salad. It becomes a part of your diet. And lastly, I want to speak on this because this is something that isn't talked about. The school I went to is no longer open. I went and got my degree from them back in 2020, and they closed Q1 2021. They shut down because they were under a class action lawsuit. Now schools like Lincoln Tech, schools like Coin, schools like DeVry, schools like all of these little box chain, private, non-accredited, low budget schools are scams. At least my school was. When I found out that they were predatory in their lending, doing a bunch of illegal things, that's when I really knew, like, it's more than thousands of schools out there like that, and all they want to do is get people in the door. If they get people in the door, they can get money in their pockets and life is great for them, but they don't think about the student. They really don't. And another thing, I remember it being super easy to take out that student loan. Every other loan I've tried to get, whether it be an auto loan, a home loan, a credit card, a line of credit, they made me jump through hoops these other institutions, but in order to get my student loan, it was over and done with in less than 20 minutes. Of course, I needed a co-signer, but what parent isn't going to co-sign on their kid's education? So overall, I really am happy for those who do receive that relief. 10,000, 20,000, whatever you get, good for you. Take it and run with it. But overall, Joe Biden's federal student loan relief plan is nothing but a treatment. It's not the cure. Like this video if you like it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Also, follow me on IG. Q Makes It Happen on Instagram. Go show your boy some love. And lastly, become a member of the Q Crew. Click that join button down below where you'll get more one-on-one from me, exclusive content, and it's also a way to support the channel. I go by the name of Q, and like I always say, if Q can make it happen, you can make it happen. I'll holla at y'all next video. Peace.